Hey guys, Cryo here. I've got arguably my best build so far this league. I've got 2,000 hours in this game and I can confidently say that this is the cheapest and one of the strongest builds that I've come up with. There are no mandatory uniques or lineage support gems, no crazy jewels, no mirror tier weapons. In fact, I'll even go out on a limb and say that by the time you finish the campaign, you'll be able to afford this build. I will be showing you how to craft a weapon for this later in the video. It is 100% guaranteed craft, which means there's no gamble crafting involved like with other weapons. So, taking a look at how the build works, it may sound complicated at first, but it's actually very simple. Our main skill is Ember Fusillade, and we pair it with Cast on Ailment and Living Bomb. Normally, Living Bomb gives you fire infusions when it procs, but we can get lightning infusions through Elemental Equilibrium. The reason we want these lightning infusions is because Ember Fusillade fires additional chaining beams which can deal a lot of damage. Now, this is the part that sounds a bit complicated. Why do we not have any energy shield? Well, it's because we are spec'd into Eldritch Battery, which converts all of our ES into mana. This is especially important because we are also using Archmage, which gives us extra lightning damage based on our mana. We also spec into Mind over Matter to turn our mana into a reasonably sized defense. The more mana we have, the tankier we are, and the more mana we have, the more damage we deal. Obviously, double mana cost from the battery and extra cost from Archmage would make this impossible to work. Hence why we make our abilities cost life instead, which works perfectly with Blood Mage because we have access to Spell Life Leech. Onto the Cast on Elemental Ailment. Typically, people would run Cast on Crit with Blood Mage, but Cast on Ailment actually procs much more often because of the damage type we are dealing, which is cold damage. The way we deal cold damage is through the Embitter support gem, which converts all sources of extra damage to cold. So, extra damage mods from Jewels, passive, staff mods, and Archmage are all converted to cold damage. Why is cold damage so important? Because for Cast on Ailment, we gain 10 energy per power of an enemy we freeze. With the extra energy gained, this will proc Living Bomb on practically every enemy. Hence why I call this build Ember Fusillade with Herald of Ice. Cold damage is also useful because we can freeze bosses, allowing us to dish out as much damage as we want without those bosses fighting back, as you can see here. This is a tier 2 Zest because I'm on hardcore SSF and haven't gotten around to doing Breach yet. You'll see that we have absolutely zero struggle here with this boss, although I have already beaten Arbiter and the tier 3 Ritual boss. Moving on to the crafting section of this guide, we have here a staff with tier 1 mana and plus 7 fire spell skills. I'm actually on my softcore character to showcase this craft. This staff costs me about 2 exalted orbs, so it's very cheap. The way we craft this is by applying a crit essence and then desecrating an Ulamon suffix to get the chance for 2 extra projectiles. Then we're gonna add 2 prefixes, ideally spell damage and any extra damage, which we do get. And then we're gonna unveil and get the chance to fire 2 additional projectiles. So that finishes our craft. There is one more thing we need, which is a Thane's Gird rune of Wildness, which gives us 25% more chance for projectiles. This rune costs about 25 exalts. If you can't afford the rune or the craft yet, I recommend slotting Multi-Shot 2 as it gives you 2 extra projectiles, but lowers your damage by 25%. Onto the passive tree, we get base crit chance for spells, spell life leech, life loss prevention, and gain max life from the energy shield from our chest. Then we path a bit to the left to grab some crit and also reduced skill effect duration for Ember Fusillade. Up on the left still we grab Mind over Matter, Breaking Point, Storm Charge, and all natural, and of course we get Elemental Equilibrium. Then in the middle we grab some exposure for our weapon set 2, and also some more exposure to the right along with spell area of effect and curse area of effect, and also grab some shock magnitude for our thunderstorm skill. We get some crit nodes for weapon set 1 along with some remnants pickup range to help with our life and mana sustain. We spec into Eldritch Battery and Arcane Intensity, and we grab the additional spell projectiles. If you don't have the desecrated suffix or the rune, I just recommend slotting Multi-Shot 2 into your Ember Fusillade and instead spend your passive points on maybe some more crit. We grab Thin Ice for some freeze buildup and increased damage against frozen enemies, and we get Heavy Frost for more freeze buildup and also hits ignore non-negative resistances of frozen enemies. And that's it for the passive tree. Mine's a bit messy at the moment, so there could still be a few changes. Alright, so looking over at our support gems and skills. So on Ember Fusillade, we have Compressed Duration 2 and Swift Affliction 3. These are mandatory skill gems to reduce the skill effect duration. Then we have Embitter to convert all of our extra damage to cold damage. And then we have Atalui's Bloodletting and Dominant Grasp. These two are absolutely not necessary. They are optional. They're just nice to have. Instead of Bloodletting, you can have Life Tap. And instead of Dominant's Grasp, you can have Fire Mastery. That's going to give you about the same DPS. Moving over to Thunderstorm, we have Shock Conduction 2, Coursing Current, Lightning Exposure, Potent Exposure, Static Shocks. For a cast on Elemental Ailment, we have our Living Bomb. We slot Overabundance 2 so we can have 2 active at the same time. We have Life Tap again, Embitter, and then Efficiency 2 to make the skill cost less. Mono Remnants, we just have the usual Remnant support gems. Archmage, only Lightning Mastery. Elemental weakness, we have Prolonged Duration, Heightened Curse, Cursed Ground, Efficiency 2, and Potent Exposure. Now for your weapon sets, you want Ember Fusillade on weapon set 1, Thunderstorm on weapon set 2, Cast on Elemental Ailment, any Mono Remnant, any Archmage only on your weapon set 1, otherwise your Elemental Weakness and your Thunderstorm are going to have really expensive costs. Looking over at our items, you'll see that I really don't have anything special. This is only a +6 fire spell skill staff. My rings aren't exactly all that great. I do have a snake pit, which again is optional. You absolutely don't need this. In fact, you're probably better off running a ring with more resistances, mana, and life. You'll see that the rest of my gear isn't exactly anything special. I did get a lucky corrupt here for 29 spirit, but the energy shield on this helmet is very, very low. Now, the most expensive item I have is my amulet, which actually has +3 to level of all spell skills and +50 to spirit. So how did I get this? Well, I spent about 10 million gold at Ange. I rolled a +3 all spell skills magic amulet, and then with a perfect regal, I got +50 spirit. You absolutely don't need this. If you're looking for a cheaper option, you can try and get less spirit. You can get +2 spell skills or +2 projectile skills. If you've made it this far, please leave a like on this video and consider subscribing. I made this build with the intent of it being as cheap as possible, given the insane amount of inflation on trade leagues, and also to cater to SSF players such as myself. If you are on the standard Fate of the Vol League, I will be giving away the staff crafted in this video, which I corrupted for a 3rd socket. Similar ones seem to be going for roughly 400 divines, give or take. So if you want this staff, just leave a like and comment down below your username, and I'll randomly pick a comment. But let's be honest, I have like 2 subscribers that will probably be gathering this in my stash most likely.